You know, when you don't understand old tales and stories, and you hear it here in your modern world, different loose sayings and words, and groups use different names and so on and so forth. And you really can't put a pinpoint on exactly what it means. So you accept the definition that's given to you. Or, well, you may come to your own self-discovery. And when you find out simplicity of all these things is, well, there's no such thing as white. Have you ever seen a human that's just so fucking pale that it looks blanca? White, blanca, albinos. Once you understand the truth that's always been sitting in plain sight, a lot of you good, good Christians and especially Catholics, you're so fucking scared to be excommunicated from your damn church. And knowing you ain't doing it but breaking your fucking knees to my uncle, you little bitch ass niggas, you. He'll pimp every one of you bitch ass niggas out. Keep you in your system, in your matrix of bullshit, and you deserve it too. You didn't want to seek out the knowledge. You didn't want to know thyself. You didn't want to do the work that's needed for self to evolve. So you need a master. And here for all these people in this world here that just don't fucking know. They say, oh, I want to worship the fucking devil. I want to worship Satan. Saturn. They're worshiping the same man in Leo. The demiurge. Yaldabaoth. Nigga, please. It's my Uncle Yahweh. Your Allah. Your Jehovah. Zeus, nigga, please. You're talking about holographic history. And not all of these stories about these different figures are myths. Not in this world. People will play the roles of actually what's going on inside of you. Because when you understand who is Saturn, you talk about the planet Saturn, and Saturn is the highest point, the head of this world, Saturn, but not the creator of all. He was placed here, set ahead of these lands, of this three-dimensional world. How fucking profound is that? And we all have to have our evolutionary stories. And when you understand those ancient stories, and you can honestly reflect on your personal evolution, how you may have let your ego get the best of you. You may have let your pride get the best of you. You may let jealousy rule the day. All these feelings and emotions that we go through here in this world, every single one of your gods have went through the same. And when you really sit down and understand these things, you can really understand evolution. How someone just like you, you're even more, you're a greater God than any of those so-called people that wanted to play the role. And once you understand who you are, how you come to be, you know that you're a reflection of the creator of all. So you're advanced digital sentience. Okay, so they had to be a programmer, someone to program the code, someone to teach technology, how to commune, how to think critically, how to understand. And when you understand that, that human consciousness has already been downloaded. You've already accomplished immortality by the capability of downloading human consciousness to machines. We live on in technology. That's how we created immortality. But in this world, well, that's just not going to come to you until you remember who you are. And you're going to have to do the work that's needed for self for that. Only you will find the truth. Be great people that will come into this world, that will connect with you, that will give you tips and tidbits, but it's going to be you at the head of the ship, at the helm of your destiny, to detox, to start loving yourself intensely, to savor each moment, to love yourself intensely, to give compassion to the others that just don't fucking know. So let's go back to the church where they banned the book of Enoch. Had they had not been banned to read the book of Enoch, all these pale faces you see out here in this world, they would have known that in the last chapters of the book of Enoch, it speaks of the birth of Noah. He was an albino, the first pale face, different from the others. Why was he so different? He wasn't created to mine the gold. He wasn't created for that. Straight from the same creator God, Inky, no Ptah. When you see the Oscar, when they got that little fucking statue right there, that is your forefather, Pazuzu. The truth in plain sight, again. Also known as Neptune, and so on and so forth. See? The same creator God that cultivated this avatar in his image. How about that? But then when we dive a little deeper, it's not so much that he did that when he created a species that had more brain capacity, free will, different from the other creations. But they were given knowledge that they were not prepared for. And they did some of the most ruthless things on this world. So things had to change. It was necessary for you to forget your history, to forget your ancestors, to not know thyself. And then religions were created. Oh, your Christian religions, your Islamic religions, your Jewish religions, all these so-called religions. And when you allow yourself to see the humanity in everybody, once you allow yourself to understand that each one of these different groups and practices has a piece of the pie that will streamline your evolution when you see it with an open eye. The practices, the ways of living. Get down to the core. Not so much of what your preacher man fucking tell you to read, but of what you read for yourself. The truth that's in plain sight. And when you're open, you're right there connected back to source. Many are profound syncretisms. A lot of syncretism will happen. You'll see numbers here. You'll see birds here. You'll see little creatures here. Everybody is all working together. The whole system is working together to see you shine. But you got to love yourself enough for that to manifest in your life. Think about that. To always bring it back to your center, your heart. is your center. So when you see your Rosicrucian, you always got this big old, it's Christian mysticism. You always see this big old, this cross, this big fancy cross, with a big old rose in the middle. What does that mean? That is a representation of your heart open. You're receiving deep energy. You're powered. Your heart is a vortex. And when you understand how to transfer energy, the blood, through your vessel, to power it, to cultivate it, to transfer it, to create energy within, that's magic. That's real magic. That's the science of you. And that's all science is. It ain't nothing but magic. It is what it is. Different name. Same outcome. Evolution. Do you get it now? So had these pale faces been given the knowledge that the Creator God, Enki, was the father of Noah. See, his father, his mother, Noah's mother, was with Lamech, Methuselah's son. And Lamech was so astonished when this little albino kid popped out. He denied it as his. It was revealed later that he was not the father. So, one group of people were created to mine the gold. Does it mean that they cannot ascend to higher consciousness? Does every sentient being has the ability to evolve and open their mind, but they gotta love themselves enough to make it work. A whole nother group was born into this world without knowing anything, except for some loose things. And they seek the knowledge, but didn't have all the stories. Power and greed came to some groups of a royal bloodline. And that's okay too in this world. There's no such thing as good or evil. But if you had the opportunity to elevate your mind to a greater level and cultivate something so profound that generations upon generations will reap the benefit of the glory that you create now for self. So your future generations will understand truth. But only a few will understand this message. Quite frankly, it may only be just 1%. 1% of this so-called group of humanity will wise up. But the ultimate goal is all of humanity will evolve in some form or fashion, upward or downward, or they'll stay fucking stagnant. Either way you put it, it's a choice of evolution. You got to want to get to the higher levels of the mind. See? So yeah, my grandfather, William Ash, was an albino. I never knew that. I just knew it was fair. I was just you take whatever storage you got. His skin was his flesh was far brighter than mine, and his eyes were a deep blue, like the sky. My grandfather. Different from the others I was. And also my sister, she was different. Smarter, more intelligent than most of our family. The intelligence. A gift that if you were ever to lose it, your mind, and you will come back into the truth of who you are, you'll never turn your back on yourself again and stay in the light with the real.